Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Jennings with Honors Biology, and this is the first screencast of several screencasts we will be doing this semester in biology class with our new flipped classroom style. This screencast is titled Unit 1, Introduction to Biology, and by the end of this lesson you should be able to define biology, give me the list of characteristics that all living things possess, and be able to describe the levels of organization of all living things. Don't forget, at the end of this lesson, you will need to go to step 2 of your playlist and take the online WISC quiz. Let's begin. My first question to you is, what is biology? In science, if you will break words apart, a lot of times you can figure out their meaning. Bio means life. Ology is the study of. So biology is the study of life or the study of living things. Now this study could encompass things as small as these microscopic unicellular bacteria that you see on the image in the left, or it could be as large as the macroscopic multicellular spider that you see on the right. Biology also has many subdivisions, one being ornithology, which is the study of birds. If we're studying living things, then how are we going to define things as being living? Is the computer you're using right now living? You say no, but how do you know it's not living? What is it you use to describe something as living? Well, scientists have put together many characteristics of living things, and I have summed them up into 7 characteristics. All living things have these 7 characteristics, and they have to have all of these characteristics or they're not considered living. The first characteristic, as you see in this image, is organization. And the organization is in the form of a cell. That's the basic unit of life. All living things are made of a cell or many cells. And those cells are made up of organelles that function to keep the cell working. And within the center of the cell, the nucleus here, you will find the genetic material, the hereditary material that is passed down from one generation to the next, the DNA. But the organization is there with all living things, and the basic unit of life being the cell. The second characteristic of living things is living things are able to respond to stimuli. Whether the stimuli be the temperature or whether the stimuli be a change in light, there's going to be able to be some kind of response. As you see in this image, this one is a response to light on the eyes where the pupil actually gets smaller. It constricts to keep a lot of light from entering, trying to block out the light. The third characteristic that all living things have is homeostasis, and that sounds like a big word, but it basically just means balance. Homeostasis is an organism's ability to maintain an internal environment at a balanced state no matter what the outside environment is. So in humans, the average temperature is 98.6. Our body is going to do whatever it has to do to maintain that temperature no matter what the outside temperatures are. If it's cold, our muscles will shiver. The shivering produces heat and brings our body temperature up. And that's one way that we maintain homeostasis. The fourth characteristic of living things is metabolism. All living things have a metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of all chemical reactions in the body. Chemical reactions could be breaking things down or they could be building them up. And when food sources are ingested, such as proteins or carbohydrates or fats, for energy or nutrients into organisms, they are going to break them down. For instance, protein is broken down into little individual amino acids, and those amino acids are further broken down and used to build tissue back up. Carbohydrates are broken down into sugar, and that sugar is then put into a process in order to use energy. So metabolism is present in all living things. The next characteristic that all living things have is reproduction. If it's living, it is able to reproduce. The reproduction may be asexual or it might be sexual. Sexual reproduction is the reproduction that occurs when sex cells unite, as you see in this image of the sperm and the human egg. Asexual reproduction occurs when sex cells do not unite, and an example of that would be how bacteria can divide into two through binary fission, no sex cells involved, but they are reproducing. The next characteristic is growth. If a thing is living, it is going to grow. It's going to grow in size or height or in maturity, but growth will occur. So all living things do have the characteristic of growth. And the last characteristic is respiration. Respiration is the exchange of gases. Oxygen is a gas that comes into the cell and is used in a process to release energy from sugar. And then the waste material, carbon dioxide, is a gas that is released from the cell. So respiration occurs in all living things. Now, how organisms actually get the oxygen in is different. In humans, we breathe, we pull air in, but all living things respirate. They all exchange gases. So that is a summary of the characteristics that you will see if something is living, and they will have all these characteristics. My next question then would be, what are the levels of organization of life? How is everything organized? And the first of the organization and the smallest would be the cell. The cell is the basic unit of life, and everything will build off of that. Now you'll notice in this diagram there's a few things before the cell. Atoms, which is what matter is made up of, and then the molecule. And a molecule is a group of atoms chemically bonded. So if you go from an atom to a molecule, you create these organelles inside the cell, and the cell is composed of all those organelles. But the cell has to have the organelles in order to be the basic unit of life. Now, a group of cells working together to perform the same function is the tissue. And a tissue is composed of many cells working together. For instance, you have many muscle cells in your body working together to form muscular tissue. Tissues then work together, different types of tissues, to form organs. For instance, your heart. Your heart is made of connective tissue. It's made of epithelial tissue. It's made of muscular tissue. So it's made of many tissues that are working together in order to perform the function of the pumping that occurs in the heart in order to send blood out. And then the next level of building is the organ systems. The heart is part of the cardiovascular system. So that organ, along with arteries and veins together, make up that system. And then if you take all the systems working together to perform a specific function, you will get the organism. This would be things like the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the muscular system, all working together to create the organism. So you see here the cell, the tissue, the organ system, the organism. Now we can't stop there because we have to take life as it interacts and put it in order. So the next step is going to be a population, and a population will be composed of organisms of the same species in an area. So for instance, in Fort Payne, the humans in this area would be a population. And then the next level is the community. The community is going to be more than one population together. A population of humans, a population of dogs, a population of cats, all living together in the same area. That would be a community. So you have the population in this diagram, the community, and then the ecosystem. The ecosystem is going to be all the communities in an area along with the non-living and how they interact. So you have dirt, you have air, you have weather, rain. So ecosystem is composed of the interaction between all the communities and the non-living. And then all of the living can be encompassed on Earth, all the ecosystems within the atmosphere, and that would be the biosphere. The biosphere being the largest of levels that includes everything all the way down to the cells. So this is the organization of living things, or how the levels are organized when you are speaking of living things, going from the cell all the way to the biosphere. And that concludes our first screencast. Remember that you need to complete the online WISC form for this unit, and you'll find it in Step 2 of Unit 1 playlist. Remember that when you submit your answers on the WISC form, there will be a place for you to copy and paste to view a video on YouTube about a virus. Be sure you do that, and there's a place for you to click to view your answers compared to all your classmates' answers. So when you finish your WISC form, be sure to read that small little paragraph of print that comes after it. And good luck. See you tomorrow.